Hi, everyone. Welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. Today's date is Saturday, June 11th, 2022. And before I get started tonight, I did want to ask, shout out subscribers, new and returning. This channel has grown, and it's because of the subscribers. And I thank you so much for that. And I know some of you have had to resubscribe several times because for whatever reason, YouTube tends to drop off some of those numbers. So for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. For those of you who are diligent about resubscribing, thank you so much. I do appreciate the growth this channel is getting. Well, I wanted to share something with you tonight that is some good news, because in our complicated world, good news seems to almost be hidden from us. And I'm not just about good news. I'm more than happy to tackle some difficult subjects, but when the opportunity comes to share something that might lift your hearts a little, of course I'm going to do that. Let me share a screen with you and I'll explain what I'm talking about, okay? Just a second. Okay, on June 5th, the Daily Wire had this article that unprecedented, remarkable, cancer study leaves every patient cancer-free. Now, this is basically the layman's version of the article from the dailywire.com. And I don't pay for a subscription to it, but I found it here. What I like about this study, first of all, it's in layman's terms, so I could understand it. And basically the gist of it is that it's a very small study, 18 rectal cancer patients were put on this trial, and every single one of them became cancer-free and didn't need other cancer treatments to have that result. Now, if you're more scientific-minded than I am and you'd like to go to the original paper that this came from, 5th edition of the New England Journal of Medicine. But as I said, I kind of needed the layman's version. Okay. So granted, it's just been a small trial. It's just on one very specific but very known to be aggressive type of cancer. But the fact that even anything that even sounds like it might be a cure has been a type thing, because Big Pharma makes customers for life. And they're not about cures, they're about customers. So what I wanted to ask the cards tonight was, is this study cause for celebration? Are cures, and I believe, I need to be honest with you, I believe cures are out there that have been suppressed. Is this the start of good news for humanity about cures and treatments that are going to soon be available for everyday typical people? Okay, now I'm not going to ask when, because the universe operates on a different time frame than we do. But let's see what the universe has to say about, is this study that I just referenced, is there anything the universe wants us to know about it? And is it possibly the start of some rollout of cures and treatments for regular people that are going to seem miraculous and new and wonderful? Let's see what the cards have to say. Our first card is the 5 of Wands. Our second card is the 2 of Swords. Third is the Hermit. Next card is Strength. Next card is the Star. Ace of Swords. And 4 of Swords. I'll be right back. We'll talk about those cards. Well, let's talk about the cards. Our question was, is the study that I referenced one that can give us a little bit of hope that cures that have been possibly suppressed in treatments may be soon going mainstream and available to typical people. Now, the situation and our question was indicated by the 5 of Wands, which is a struggle and competition card. There's also a competition element to the 2 of Swords, in addition to some patient waiting. And so what I'm getting from this, and that there's been some kind of a truce that's been reached, and some truth has been allowed to come out. Some medical advances are being allowed to proceed. In the recent past, we have the Hermit, and he is often our divine, off-world, future self, however you care to view him in your personal lens, energy for mankind. And it's always good to see what this old Hermit is looking at. He is looking at the struggle. So the struggle mankind has had to be denied advancements, cures, treatments, has been noticed. Look here, we have major arcanas all down the recent past, present, and future. I was smiling big time when I saw this. Such a nice surprise. The Strength card is our current one. Humanity is in a position of strength to start receiving the benefit of information that has been kept from us. She has the infinity symbol over us, over her head, and very loving touch that she's quiet strength and fortitude. And that is humanity. That's what we are, people. We are getting that to that position of quiet strength, of quietly saying, no more. This isn't how I'm going to live. This isn't how I'm going to think. And change is happening. Now, we're having to dig for it and look for it in kind of obscure corners. But you know what? I don't think the New England Journal of Medicine is too darn obscure. Yeah, it's a little too academic for me since I'm don't have a medical background, but it's not obscure. And I love that. Looking forward in the near future, we have the Star, which is a very loving and innocent energy, also has some off-world elements to it. And so we're just in for some, this study is going to be replicated and go well. And there's going to be other cures that are coming. It's almost going to start at a pace that is surprising. We have the Ace of Swords for our advice and clarification. Doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't. The Victory card, a success card. And the Sword is about, always indicates action. So actions speak louder than words, always. We have more swords over here. Now with this one, usually with the 4 swords, at least how this energy, the energy in this card for me, usually reminds me that there is some information that's not going to be made public. Remember, this one had a diplomacy element to it, a compromise element. So there's been some sort of compromise, and that's why we're starting to see the rollout of some medical advancements that aren't just treatments, but are actual cures, which is what humanity desperately needs. A couple other cards that will maybe tell us a little more. Let's see. We have the Page of Wands. Now, he's not typically a military card, but I love that he's wearing a white hat. And usually, since the universe does have kind of like a droll sense of humor and a sense of irony, I love that. So the white hats are working with the off-world, divine, future self energy, helping to make this happen. And look, guys, the world is changing, and the wreath on the world signifies victory. Victory, victory, victory keeps coming up over here. Victory, victory, compromise that's resulted in victory and good things for us. So in the face of some other news that may come out in our world that tends to make you want to worry and not feel joyful, remember things like this that are happening. We are making progress. The war is won. And someone asked me to clarify something I said. In a recent video, I said that we who are awake, we who are growing spiritually, have a strength that evil fears. And I'd like to explain that because I've been asked about it. I believe that there are types of evil that actually feed off fearful energy. There's even a name for that fearful energy. It's called loosh. And that's why I keep saying, as we learn to set aside fear and just use logic and good common sense and caution in situations that call for it, but refuse to lead fear-filled lives, we're denying something of a really nasty food source, and I'm all for that. And that is our strength. That is our strength, knowing it's okay to feel joy. It's okay to feel hope. Cautious optimism is not being too much of with your head in the clouds. Cautious optimism is at the least we should be feeling, in my opinion. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share. You're welcome to comment and subscribe or resubscribe if you need to. And hey, before I take off, I have something. You see this book? Kash Patel's The Plot Against the King. I purchased one. I purchased one for my best friend, and I clicked too many times and got a third copy. So I will list my email address in the About section, the description for this video. And the 17th person in the United States, I don't want to pay international postage, I am so sorry. The 17th person who asks for this and gives me their mailing address and permission to say their first name will be getting this, okay? So just something fun, rather than calling up and trying to get that third copy, voided out as far as the sale goes. I thought, I'll let them send it and I will just give it away. So the 17th US person who asks for this is going to receive it. Be sure I get your mailing address and permission to use your first name. Thank you so much. Keep smiling, everyone. Remember, cautious optimism. We've got this. Good night.